I'm Stephanie Snedden.
And I'm Mike Sellish, and this is Spoke TV, your source for local and campus news produced by second-year journalism broadcast students from Conestoga College.
A recent recall of defective birth control pills has brought a scare among its users. An extra week of placebo sugar pills took the place of regular pills. Daryl Vandenberg looks into the confusion and panic that resulted from the drug company's error.
When Andy Dahl first heard that her birth control medication was being recalled, she was shocked and concerned. The night before the news exploded about Alysene 28 containing faulty medication, Dahl received a phone call from Shoppers Drug Mart telling her to stop using the drug.
I was more shocked than worried. But I was just thinking about how many people depend solely on that form. And when you depend solely on that form, and it's been months.
Alysene 28 is designed for women like Dahl who smoke and take birth control. The combination is argued to increase the chances of cancer, especially women over the age of 35.
It is very important that if you are a smoker, you can still be taking the birth control. It's not going to change the effects, but that women do need to know that it can increase stroke, heart disease, heart attacks. Blood clots is a big factor with birth control, and smoking seems to coincide with that.
Although birth control doesn't cause any harmful effects and is one of the best ways to prevent pregnancy, it can increase the chances of getting cancer with women over the age of 35.
Between the ages of 35 and 40, it has risen with the risk of heart attacks and heart disease. And that is very risky for this age group. Why exactly has it risen? We don't know. There hasn't been any specific studies yet.
With no clarity on the chances of the pill causing cancer, it is common knowledge that among younger women, using can actually decrease the chances.
It actually decreases the chances of ovarian cancer for women. So, no, it does not increase cancer, and ovarian cancer, which is very high in most women, it decreases that.
With recalls like Alysene 28, the problem may be bigger than the drug just not working. It may increase the chances of pregnancy. Dahl was told over the phone of the possibilities.
And that it wouldn't be fatal side effects, but it could enhance your chance of getting pregnant.
Apotex, the manufacturer of the drug, declined to comment on any further harm the recall pills might have. For Spoke TV, I'm Daryl Vandenberg.
Waterloo region is about to get a casino. Although the proposal to build one has been approved by councillors, the debate of where to put the casino is heating up. A location possibility is Bigman Park in Kitchener. Spoke TV's Bob Mooney sat down with Mark Bigman to discuss the big plans.
There has been an increased hype over the possibilities of an OLG casino coming to either Kitchener or Waterloo. Over the past few weeks, people have been asked to come forward and present their thoughts on whether they believe it is a good thing or a bad thing. Local entertainment entrepreneur Mark Bingaman, who is the president of Bingaman's in Kitchener, says he wants City Council to say yes to a casino so that everyone can find out what kind of impact a gambling operation would have on the community.
We estimate around 1,500 jobs at minimum that would be driven. That's probably somewhere around the neighborhood of $35 million annually in payroll that goes out into the community.
Bingaman's is already starting to expand, adding a new Boston Pizza and bowling alley to its already large site. Mark also says that the only comments he's heard are that the casino would affect those in the residential areas and that he was seeing an increase in traffic.
There is some thought that the municipality and the province actually are investing the money for these projects, which is not the case. All of these operations will be completely private sector funded.
Diane Freeman, a councillor at City Hall in Waterloo, speaks with us about what kind of feedback she has been getting thus far.
Primarily people that have chosen to provide feedback directly to me is that they've said they never envisioned the City of Waterloo playing host to a casino. Well, we have staff that are basically creating a document to summarize all the feedback that we've received and to identify where the feedback sat in terms of whether people were absolutely against it, so a no, whether people were a yes, or whether people are encouraging the city to at least pursue it further.
Waterloo last considered a casino back in 1997 as a part of the municipal election. At the time, 80% of the voters were opposed to bringing a casino to Waterloo. And so the trend continues. The first public meeting on the issue will be held on April 23rd at City Hall, but the cards won't be dealt until a final decision is made on May 13th by City Councillors. For Spoke TV, I'm Bob Mooney.
Another summer of construction is on its way. New sharrows are being installed down the busy street to help drivers and cyclists share the road more efficiently. Spoke TV's Sean Cassidy hits the streets to fill us in.
Riding your bike through the downtown area of Kitchener can be a tight squeeze between traffic. Traffic of both pedestrians on the sidewalks and the vehicles passing by. The city set aside $200,000 for the cyclist master plan and recently approved super sharrows to be placed along King Street in the downtown. City Councillor Frank Etherington says the safety of cyclists and drivers has been a concern for some time.
There's been a culture out there for years where there's been this dispute between vehicle drivers and cyclists, and I'm really hoping that what's being done with this entire proposal will help address that.
This disconnect that's happening in the downtown core right now between drivers and cyclists is a cause for their safety, leading them to sometimes ride on the sidewalks.
I think it varies, because it is safer to ride on the sidewalk now. I think it is anyway.
But riding the sidewalks can be dangerous for pedestrians, causing confusion for some cyclists about where the best place is to be.
It is pretty risky. With the cars parked and with the traffic, it's kind of iffy. Sometimes you gotta be really cautious. You have to slam your brakes, right?
Sharrows are a symbol of a bike with two chevrons above. The city is placing these at every intersection and midpoints throughout the downtown core. Made of a special plastic that will be melted into the pavement, these sharrows will be much larger than the ones seen painted inside bike lanes. Councillor Yvonne Fernandez explains how she believes these symbols will help to increase safety.
I think what it will do is it will raise visibility, and of course we have to have an education piece with that. So we really need to educate drivers that the reason we're putting those sharrows in is to talk about sharing the road.
Besides the education of drivers and cyclists for better safety, City Council says downtown is a good place for the city to start implementing the new super sharrows.
And this is a good opportunity to put it on King Street. We don't have really high speeds along King Street. It will be intuitive, really, I think, for drivers. Once they get used to the idea of having a cyclist in front of them, if they need to share the road, hopefully that they will relax and allow that to happen.
Many seem to be optimistic about the new plans to be implemented downtown, because the way things are now, it's just not safe for cyclists. May's Bike Fest will help inform the public of the new sharrows that will increase safety for cyclists in the downtown. For Spoke TV, I'm Sean Cassidy.
In March, the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Guelph held their annual Bowling for Kids' Sake event. The event raised $60,000 for the charity. Reporter Jesse Miat has the story.
The annual Bowl for Kids' Sake event took place at Woodlawn Bowl in Guelph, where the event is presented by Big Brothers Big Sisters of Guelph and Hoy's Michaelos and Associates. To tell you what the event is about, here's the Fund Development Coordinator of the organization.
This Bowl for Kids' Sake event is our largest annual fundraiser. This is actually our 38th annual Bowl for Kids' Sake. So we've been around for 38 wonderful years and growing every single year, which is fantastic. As I said, this is the largest fundraiser for Big Brothers Big Sisters of Guelph. This year we hope to raise $80,000 by having over 100 teams participating. That was our goal, and so far we have 105 teams participating, which is amazing to actually surpass that goal. And we're still seeing the donations coming in and the thermometer raising every single day, so we couldn't be more excited about that. And Bowl for Kids' Sake is such an amazing event because it's so accessible for everyone to participate in.
Now, part of being a big brother or big sister is to be a role model and to create a positive outlook on life for the youth. So I asked one of the Big Sisters of Guelph to tell us on how she got started in the program.
I was a little sister myself. I became a little sister when I was 7. My first match ended when I was 11, and then years later I wanted to become a big sister myself because of that experience. So here I am today at 23, been a big sister for almost 2 years now.
The event is in celebration of 100 years of youth mentoring across Canada and are always looking for more members to join. For Spoke TV, I'm Jesse Miat.
The largest market study ever conducted on mislabeled seafood is making global headlines, and it all began at the University of Guelph. The study found that 44% of all food retailers have sold mislabeled fish. Spoke TV's Stephen Ward investigates something fishy.
Do you know what a snapper looks like, or even a tuna? Apparently not a lot of us have a clue what type of fish we are eating. The largest market study on mislabeled seafood was done by Biodiversity Institute of Ontario at the University of Guelph and commissioned by Oceana. It revealed that 33% of fish eaten in America was mislabeled. The study looked at fish sold in retail stores, restaurants, and sushi bars. The highest mislabeling rates were in sushi venues at 74%, followed by 38% in other restaurants, and finally 18% in grocery stores. In total, 1,200 fish samples from over 700 outlets were tested across America. Dirk Steinkirk, the Director of Education for Bio, explains how some of the biggest issues revolve around farmed and wild fish, and how mislabeling can lead to environmental impact on our fisheries.
Actually, most of the fish we find or often is farmed fish. So that in turn has environmental consequences, because most of those farms are not what I would consider a natural habitat, and actually it has a lot of consequences for the environment around it.
Now that's the study, but what do local retailers and local distributors, how do they feel about the study?
Adisia Fine Foods in Cambridge is a provider of high-quality fish and seafood products to many restaurants in the region. Barb Crom, owner of Adisia Fine Foods, talked about how they provide top-quality seafood and fish products to many of our region's restaurants.
Because we deal in whole fish and whole fillets, we can make a case to our customers and then to their customers, who ultimately matter, right? It's the consumer in the restaurant that I ultimately care about. We can make the case that we actually see the fish come in and we know what species look like, whether it's a whole fish, it's fairly obvious what it looks like. Even if a fillet comes in, they all have distinctive shapes, sizes, thicknesses, colors. I think when you start to process it into smaller pieces, it's very much more difficult to distinguish. And the farther you get away from the fish experts, the less people know about the differences in various kinds of species.
Cottle's Catch, a local seafood retailer in Kitchener, provides seafood and fresh fish to the public at their federally inspected shop or at the local markets in Kitchener and St. Jacobs. Rob Cottle, the owner of Cottle's Catch, explains his opinion on the study.
They mentioned retail outlets, including restaurants. So to me, there's retail outlets, which are grocery stores or seafood stores, and then there's restaurants or restaurants. They kind of lump them all into one ball. So when they say 44% of all retail outlets, I suspect it would lean heavier on the restaurant side, where I think there's a little less control over what they do inside of the restaurant versus retail stores.
So when you're looking to buy fish, make sure the supplier or distributor are federally inspected so you can ensure that what you've ordered is exactly what it's supposed to be. For Spoke TV, I'm Stephen Ward.